Well, when I first hiked the trail in '73, I came back wanting to help the trail, wanting to help maintain it. And there was a reunion of AT hikers, I think in the late 70s that Ed Garvey sponsored down in Harper's Ferry. And, I came down to it and it was nice. But, after it was done, it was all over, And when I got to the Folklife Center, I had a facility there and it wasn't being used during that time. I asked Don West if I could host a gathering of long-distance hikers because I felt a real need. There was a lot of long-distance hikers now, but their needs weren't being met by the ATC. And so I decided that, I'm just going to have a gathering of long-distance hikers, and I sent out notices and had about 225 people show up.
I knew there was something brewing because it just travels, how the information travels on the trail. That's, I think, how I heard. There's something going on, and you're probably going to hear about it pretty soon. And before I knew it, I heard from Warren, and he had the whole thing pretty much organized, who was going to be there, what was going to happen, and it all worked out, as we know, 25 years later.
Gene Cashin let me have some of the records that the ATC had, sent out letters to people. Back then there wasn't any email. Posted stuff on the trail, sent stuff to hostels. There wasn't that much hostels. And so I really put a lot of effort. I had more time back then. It's before I had children and stuff. And so I had a lot of time to advertise and get the word out. So I think almost everyone that had walked the trail up to that point in time had a good address, got a thing, got a notice. And then, I just put stuff out on the trail as well.
I thru-hiked the trail in 1982, and along the way we ran into Warren Doyle several times, and he had this idea for a get-together, kind of reunion that he called The Gathering. When I first heard that name, The Gathering, I think I thought of some kind of horror story like Stephen King's The Shining or The Lottery, The Gathering.
I met Warren on the trail, and he told me that he was going to have a gathering of hikers. It sounded like a good thing to me, but I thought, well, okay, that sounds kind of neat. There'll probably be 30, 40, 50 people there at the most. And what a surprise it was to get there and see, even back then at that first gathering, there were hundreds of people there. And it was just so gratifying to see that there were so many people there that wanted to share what they had experienced with other people. And I think that, to me, that's one of the most important things about the gathering and Aldha as an organization, is having a place to go where people can understand what you've experienced and can relate to what you've experienced.
Oh, I went to the first gathering, and I remember just pulling into Pipestem, and there was just like it is nowadays. There was tons of people standing around, and you just started talking, and before you knew it, you found people that you hiked with, and people that were thinking and dreaming of doing other hikes, and you just started linking up with different people.
One guy drove his taxi down from Boston. Another couple drove across country on their motorcycle with a little, Chihuahua dog on top of it. And, another guy rode his motorbike in from Colorado. Another guy walked down from Ohio, all the way down from Ohio to West Virginia. And it was just wonderful. More than I could have expected. And, it was just the amount of positive energy. It was nice.
We got to Pipestem and went to the Appalachian South Folklife Center, and there were people all over the place. There were people in cars and trucks and vans and RVs, and tents were going up in the field, and immediately out of the car we were meeting friends and hugging and happy and talking about our hikes and our trail, and it was an amazing thing from the very beginning. it was huge, much bigger than we ever thought it would be. And, thinking back now, you wonder, how did Warren get all these people together?
Well, the first gathering, we still had pigs at the Folklife Center and burros and stuff, and the pigs got out one day when everyone was over at the college, and they ransacked a couple people's tents. So that was the big thing, like the second gathering in the advertisement. I said, we said, we'll make sure that we don't have any rampaging porkers, pigs going to people's tents. That was the big thing.
But there was a madhouse fire that night, gathering around a fire, and people sang and had a ball, and I don't know how late we were there, but eventually everything died down and got into business the next day. I have some wonderful memories, and then at the school, we were always very comfortable and had plenty to eat. And you'd meet these students who would take a look at you and say, where are all these people from? What do you do? And try to explain to a student who knows nothing about the Appalachian Trail what all these people are there for. And I'd say, come over to the meeting. You'd probably enjoy it, and check out the sales desk and see what we have for sale.
So I asked the people Monday, when we had our wrap-up session, it used to be 4 days there, Monday morning of Columbus Day, what they wanted to do with this and whether they wanted to continue it in some sort of folk structure. And there seemed to be a lot of interest. So I said, well, I'll schedule a meeting in Harper's Ferry because I want the ATC in on it, and National Park Service. And we decided on a weekend, and that's the weekend that we actually, 4 or 5 months later, named the organization and then elected officers.
I remember we had a meeting at Harper's Ferry to discuss it, and everyone thought it was a great idea because everyone got such good energy out of being with kindred spirits, and there wasn't a place for us to come together. We tried, I think, at the Appalachian Trail conferences. We had dinners and things like that, but it wasn't quite the same. So Warren thought it was a good idea to create this new organization where we could all come together and everyone would understand us, and we could meet new friends and see old friends and have fun and talk about the trail, which was the most important thing in our lives at that point. And for most of us, it still is.
Well, I think, the meeting at Harper's Ferry was just tremendous, too. I was a little worried that having it institutionalized, it might have lost something there, but it was, we had great representation from ATC, good representation from National Park Service. Dave Ritchie was, he was a humanist, and just a lot of energy. We had a great representation. We had maintainers, we had trail angels, we had through hikers, and if you look at that picture, we had a wonderful cross section of what I thought the association should be. See, initially, when we were thinking about the name of the group, we had people that wanted to call it like a 2,000-miler society, or something that was more elitist. I said, no, I want this to be for dreamers, for maintainers, for anyone that was interested in the long-distance hiking community, not just long-distance hiking, but long-distance hiking, the culture. So that worked out really well.
Jim Stoltz, he was always invited to entertain us, and it was a great opportunity to just hear somebody else's experiences on trails everywhere through music, and most of it was his own.
I look back now and think of how I could have thrown it in.
Well, my first gathering was 1985, and Warren Doyle invited me out. I was very excited to hear that there was going to be a big gathering of long-distance hikers. I thought to myself, whoa, a special event just for people that do long-distance walking. And there's a place where we can go and share stories and talk to each other and everything. I thought, wow, this sounds like a lot of fun. And I told Warren about my music, and he invited me to perform on a Sunday night. So I showed up with the guitar and did some songs, and I've been coming back ever since. But that weekend was a real connection for me, and I've made some friendships that continue to this day from that first weekend.
1985 was special. That was 3 years into the 82, 83, the fourth gathering. It just seemed that that class had a lot of people that were, I don't know, just feelers, just their spirits seemed to meld into what Aldha was about. I remember at the end of that gathering, they all just got in a big old group hug at the end in front of the College Center. That really, that to me said, the dance, that sort of thing, the laughter, the connection, that sort of said, this needs to be continued.
Let me on to other things. The Appalachian Trail.
Well, the highlight of the gathering has always been the dance and the feature slideshow on Saturday night, and it was just kind of like the finale of the whole entire weekend. And there was such good energy there, and we had so much fun. I mean, you'd have to think about what to wear because you're going to get so sweated up, and you wanted to wear some kind of skimpy summer clothing, even if it was cold out, because you got that hot. And for me, it was always fun because there was always a lot more guys than women, and so you got to meet all your friends or friends you didn't know, especially in the one song, I guess not the Virginia Reel, but where you change partners every couple seconds, and that was always fun. And you never had to worry about a partner, even before the days before my husband Todd was there. There was always somebody to dance with you, and you could dance with a different guy every time, and that was kind of neat instead of the other way around. But Saturday night was always the favorite time, the dance and the slideshows.
When I grew up, we had an Intercollegiate Outing Club Association, and that's where I learned dancing. As part of all outdoor activities, there'd always be a square dance. And it was always sort of hand in hand with outdoor enthusiasts, so I just wanted to contribute that as a community builder. And so down south, we had the hurrah cloggers come in and flog and the band. I flogged with them in Blacksburg, and it was just a time we could all celebrate. And I like the connection of the hand, and in some dancing, this connection with the eyes. And so to see all these introverts, and supposedly introverts, all together dancing with smiles on their faces, that's what it symbolizes to me.
I like the square dance because it's fun. We all get to dance and have a good time. That's my favorite part.
I remember getting near Pipestem and seeing signs that said Aldha, but I thought they said Aloha because I didn't know what the name of the organization was. I thought, man, that's weird. What's with this Hawaiian connection?
Trail Jeopardy, I wanted to have the gathering, to have, dance, to have some really good, speakers and slideshows to inspire us to keep on doing what we're doing. I wanted to be informative for people, but I also wanted it to be just fun as well. I wanted, I didn't want it to be all controversy and serious stuff and informative stuff. And part of the fun thing was, the cliff jumping on Sunday morning, right at the break of day. The first thing we did was, we'd only have one activity, and it was like trail trivia. It was just a goof on Trail Jeopardy. And of course, back then there wasn't any sort of reality TV or anything like that. It was just a nice play for just to have fun. And lot of laughter, through the years.
Yeah, we had all the work trips every year for, I don't know, we might have had 4 or 5 or half a dozen work trips. And they were like mini gatherings. People would come for the weekend. And
The spring steering committee meeting was at our house for years when we lived on the other side of Hawk Mountain, and we would have 35, 40 people that would come, and we'd all have a potluck, and we'd fire up our sauna or go swimming if it was hot in the river, and it was like a big party, and it never felt like you were suffering by working on the trail. It just felt like a party. Remember one time it was hot, and we all went down to the river to go swimming, and a couple people even had like rubber ducky inner tubes around their waist, and we met people on the way, and we just laughed and had a great time. So that was a big deal, to be able to have so much fun and work at the same time and get back to the trail.
I would see hikers at Aldha who were in the middle of their hike, because they'd always get off the trail to come to the meetings. And some of the stories I heard about hikers getting there, hitchhiking and riding, and down there in Virginia, when it was down at Concord College, there were a lot of farms, coming and going near the trail. And they would always have hitched rides with farmers, sometimes in the back of the trucks with pigs or cows. But they'd get there, and that said a lot about these people who really wanted to say hello to all their old friends, come to the meetings to enjoy them, and maybe help someone else along the way.
The early years was it was pretty much I was a greenhorn at the hiking community, and really looking to try and get things worked out with my pack and my gear, and what kind of foods to take and what not to take, and whether to go heavy or go light on things like that. So they were some of the questions I was really asked to, and I ran into a lot of people that were really knowledgeable in that area, and that seemed to be what I was looking for. And the fellowship really turned out to be very, very exciting, as some of the people I met really did an awful lot for me, and I thought this was for me.
coming to the gathering and having one person there that even if they didn't hike the whole thing, if they hiked a part of it and could give you information, it was a big deal to gather information. So when you went to a gathering, if you had a new trail under your belt, like the PCT or whatever, you were extremely valuable, even like you are today. At least now you have more than one opinion, which is a big deal, to get different opinions on all the different trails.
If you are looking to hike another trail, one of the other many, many trails in this country, chances are you're going to meet somebody at a gathering who's already been there before you and can give you valuable information. There's always, with all the lectures and slideshows and workshops that go on over the course of the weekend, you're going to get information that you can use. If you're looking for any Triple Crown information, those are the biggies. You're always going to find the AT, PCT, and CDT. There's, pretty much any information you might want on any one of those three trails is going to be there every single year. That's pretty much a given.
What a college that Aldha is. It really is. It's a college, and you don't have to pay but $10 a year to go to this college. It's an instructional organization like I don't know of any other.
We talk about it many times. For people with an addiction for hiking, it's a place to go and kind of get your fix. You go there after the hiking season's over, and you meet with your friends, and you get an idea, and you can start planning for something in the future.
I know the people of Aldha, my hiking friends and companions, almost better than I do my own family. Like the names of the children of my aunts, uncles, or cousins, I don't know them half as well as I know the names of my Aldha friends. So coming back to the gathering is like coming back to a family reunion. In fact, at times I tell people when I'm talking to new hikers about coming to their first gathering. I tell them, you have to come. It's almost like a religious revival in a way, and that you have 400 or 500 people who all get together who are thinking the same way and supporting each other in that way of thinking.
I guess coming from my family and my friends at home that didn't understand my lifestyle, that I could go there and I wouldn't feel like I was strange and that I was weird, and I felt like I was normal, even though normalcy isn't something that we strove for as a thru hiker, trying to fit in with society. But in normal life you tend to feel disconnected to everyone else, and when you go to the gathering you feel connected to everyone else. You feel like you have a tribe, and you feel like everyone understands you there, even people that don't know you. It doesn't matter how you dress or how you act or how you look, everybody just understands you. And if you do act weird, they just say, oh, you know, he's a hiker, he's a thru hiker, and they expect it. So it's a real comforting feeling to go to a gathering and not have to think about if people think you're strange, or what you believe in isn't important.
You know, you get together with these people who you might have hiked with them for 3 days through the Shenandoahs. But that was all it took for you guys to get to know each other, be comfortable with each other, and develop enough of a base of a friendship that you're going to be friends for the rest of your lives. I mean, it's amazing to me that you can be with somebody for a 48, 72-hour period of time, and in that amount of time you can find a lifelong friend. You know, it's very rare. You don't do that in the normal world. And so you do that out on the trail, but the gathering is it's like a big melting pot. It's where all these friends come together. And you don't know who's going to come each year. It's different every year. So you get there, and all of a sudden there's this friend and that friend who, you know, you hike one trail with one person and another trail with another person, and it's just the biggest social experience. You know, I mean, you can go to parties all year long, and collectively they don't amount to the social interaction at a gathering.
First gathering was in 1990. Showed up in Hanover. We hadn't hiked the trail. We'd heard about the gathering, and we were at the field just above Storrs Pond where we used to camp. And as the afternoon wore on, we watched people come. We watched people hugging each other. We watched people just happy to see each other. It was an amazing scene of jubilation, of joy, reunion. And at the same time, we couldn't help but feeling a little bit sad because nobody was happy to see us. Nobody was coming over and hugging us. But we got to see what Aldha was like, and I knew there was an energy there that I wanted to be a part of. There's a force there, and that's why I keep coming back year after year. I come to the gathering. I come to Hanover because I love Hanover. Hanover is like coming home. What better place to be in the fall in New England?
And if I memory serves me correctly, the people who do the footwork on really making the arrangements with Dartmouth College and Hanover were Frank and Victoria Lode, and which was strange enough because they were Georgia people, but I think they got the connections going, and it's been a wonderful place to go to. Ah, yes, the Northern gatherings. You can't buy, you can hear the loons going, and oh, there's one right there. I'm a little misplaced. Go fly where you belong.
I always wondered if we couldn't find a place in between, because that seemed to be where the most of the people lived. Lucky had some connections in Carlisle, and we got a campsite there, and we got the local high school to let us have their facilities for a weekend, and it was a very good gathering, and it was probably, if not the largest, it was one of the largest gatherings we ever had, because of the location, geographically, right there in the center of everything.
Turning to Carlisle, here you have an elementary school brought into the mix, which really worked out really nice, and the fact of the matter that it was centrally located, allowing the most hardships for even people from the north and people from the south, everybody sharing the same hardship to getting to the people finally in the middle section, and I think that was a big breakthrough.
But we'd never continued with Carlisle because it didn't have just wasn't that appealing. The campsite, although it was okay, it was next to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and that didn't turn out too good. So we decided to stick with Hanover and Pipestem, and that's worked out very well. And the one thing about the gathering, Carlisle, was this was the first time that Earl Schaefer had surfaced in many, many years. We finally got him to come to the gathering, and that turned out really fabulous for Earl as well as all of us. Earl had been away from the trail for many, many years, and many thought he would never get associated with the trail again. But meeting the people in Aldha, realizing that the people in Aldha really, that he meant a lot to them, it gave him the enthusiasm to come back and get reassociated with the trail. And this was really a great thing, and this is one of the good examples of the gathering, what the gathering does.
One of my favorite memories was sitting around late one night at the Folk Life Center with Earl Schaefer. A lot of people don't know, but he was a songwriter, and not only was he the first man to walk the Appalachian Trail, but he was a wonderful songwriter and knew a lot of songs too. And we sat up late into the early hours of the morning one Saturday night and just passed the guitar back and forth. And it was a special memory, special moment for me.
As our kids have gotten older, and they'll be 14 and 16 now, they're the ones that pest the most. When's the gathering? When's the gathering? Want to go to the gathering, even though there were never that many children there. But our kids have grown up feeling like adults are their peers anyway, and they could relate to anybody. So they've always related to this whole family of hikers at the gathering. So they're the ones actually that prompt us more. Make sure we want to go, we want to go, we want to go to the gathering. So I hope that the other kids feel the same way too, the few that are in, and keep some young spirit in there instead of all of us that are getting gray.
Well, even though there's not that many kids, Bryce and I still can like hang out with most of the hikers just because we do the same kinds of things. So we have a little more in common than some of our own friends our own age.
It's mostly adults, but it's still fun anyway. Because we like going to see all the workshops adults go to, but we still like them anyway.
I mean, hikers are generally shy people for the most part, but you got so many people with so many different talents, just happy to pour in what they can do. The slideshows become amazing. The people who are great photographers do that. A lot of people do so much stuff behind the scenes to set things up. A couple of neat things I got myself involved in was we put together some skits. And there's a lot of great spontaneity and fun like that. And we did another skit tribute to Gene Cashin. That was another one where everything sort of came together at the last day, and it was great fun. And I know Gene loved it as well. And it was nice to be able to do that. You know, everyone's wanting to give back some to the community.
Some people say we're irresponsible for having our kids out here, and you kids just play tag. And I said, yeah, I have this evolution program. I said, this is the second issue in a row.
I got home from my hike this summer, and I sat down one evening, and it just kind of spilled out. So. I hope it spelled out in a good way, we'll find out. This is a debut, or a debut, as some people call it. And you can sing along on this one, if you'd like. That's all right, neither do I. Your part goes like this, it goes like, come along with me to the gathering again to see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends.
Well, the days are getting shorter and the leaves begin to fall. The pack is hung up on the wall till the spring begins to call. Time to head out to the gathering, all the friends out there to see. Folks who walk their talk and live their dreams, and they all inspire me. Come along with me to the gathering again to see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends. It's a gathering of hikers, all ages and all kinds, the doers and the dreamers, the sighted and the blind. It's for the boosters and the boasters, and the ones who go and do. It's for the slow ones and the fast ones, even yellow blazers too. Come along with me to the gathering again to see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends. You'll meet the elders of our tribe, the first to walk the trails. The new folks still in progress, heading for their holy grail. And everyone has a story and a smile or thought to share. The old blood and the new, they'll all be heading there. Come along with me to the gathering again to see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends.
I want to introduce to everybody here Mr. Gene Espy, the second man to do a through hike of the Appalachian Trail, and Chester Zingaleski of Naugatuck, Connecticut, the first southbounder.
All right.
You meet the ones who do the trail work and keep coming back for more. The ones who help the hikers when they're trail worn and sore. From all walks of life and from all o'er the land, you see it's all one big trail and it's all one big clan. Come along with me to the gathering again to see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends. Come along with me to the gathering again to see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends. To see my friends of the trail and my trail of friends.
There goes the neighborhood. There goes my view. Yeah, that's me right there. And that's Jester right there in the white dome.
I see trees that are green, red roses too.
I took Clara Cassidy with me, and I remember somebody saying, "You're taking who?" And I was going to drive it myself, and I said, "Clara Cassidy. She'll fall asleep. You won't have any companionship on that long, drive." And I said, "I don't think so." Well, after we came back, she hadn't taken one little nap, coming or going. I said, "I have to tell you something funny that was said about you." And when I told her, she said, "Well, now you can go back and tell that person, and you won't tell me who it was, but you tell them I didn't take one little nap." And then she must have been a little older than I, and I'm 75, so she could have earned a nap.
Than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world.
My first gathering was in 1998. It was immediately following the completion of my Appalachian Trail through hike. So I came to the gathering with a tremendous emotional high. The experience of just being with all these people who had hiked the trail before, and just like every gathering, I can cry now just thinking about it, that all these people with this trail experience and this love and this community feel where, you know, nothing was more important to them than just being out in the wildlands and experiencing and telling other people about their experiences so that they too can develop this same kind of passion and care for the outdoors.
I'll watch them bloom for me and you. myself. Oh, what a wonderful world.
To me, I think that's what Aldha's about. I think it's about passion. Aldha and the Gathering. I think it's about passion for the trails that we love to hike. It's about passion for the lifestyle of long-distance hiking, and it's about the love of the community, the people that we meet along the way and that form our community. Aldha's made up of a lot of trail personalities. Some stand out, obviously, more than others. But as a group, we're much more than the sum of our parts.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" But they're really saying, "I love you." I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
This is a real minority, intense subculture.
My mom and dad gave me this jacket. But when I first started, I had no idea they were making such a big deal out of it.
It's definitely not just a footpath. It's all the associated stuff. It's the social world of it. It's the natural world of it. It's all the different things combined.
This is like someone, you serve on a submarine during a war. When you get out of war, the only people you're going to relate to are people on a submarine.
1950, 1949. Is that it? 1948.
I got a split E.
Okay, here we go. On your partner. And do-si-do. Right hand up with the right hand swing. And left hand up with the left hand swing. Both hand up with the left hand swing. And two straight lines.
No side-o. Active, no side-o. Active, balance and swing. Down the hall, 2 by 2. Turn alone and come on down. Cast off right hand stroke. And a left hand back. Thank you.
Well, I like these Georgia mountains and I like these rocky trails. The one thing that I haven't heard is about cat's well. Seen the valleys from the high knobs, from the peaks to roads below. Yes, I've seen a few deer, but I haven't seen a snow. I hit the Carolina border.
We grew up on, Ed Garvey's book, Adventure of a Lifetime. And I said, why does it have to be an adventure of a lifetime? Why do we have to follow this model? You work all your life, you raise a family, and then you have your adventure of a lifetime. Well, you can have lots of adventures in your lifetime. And so I think one of the nicest things I've seen with the gathering is give people a support group to keep on walking, if that's what they want to do, if that's what makes them happy. That, it's not socially irresponsible. It may be socially unacceptable, but it's not socially irresponsible.
Sorry bears, I've got to move on. I've got a lot of miles to do. I had my doubts in the beginning, well, I almost took to flight. The road, it was ungodly, and the gale winds, they did bite. But my boots are feeling better, my pack has taken a set. If my knees will only persevere, I'll make a cotton yet. When I sing this song 20 years from
I went to my first gathering during the middle of a southbound through hike, and as any southbounder knows, it can be pretty lonely out there once you pass through Pennsylvania. But man, what a boost that gathering gave me. It's hard to explain, really hard. Just to give you an idea, I went back and looked at my journal from '89, and I discovered that, although I'd been writing pretty religiously in it all along, from the gathering on, I didn't write another word. I guess I didn't need to. I wasn't really alone anymore.
Though I stand atop Katahdin's peak, this journey will never end. When I sing this song 20 years from now, if I am still around, hope my children will have this land and the joys I found on the AT.
Columbus Day weekend is a special holiday to me. Sometimes I've traded with coworkers Columbus Day in exchange for my working Christmas or something, because it was so important to me to go to the gathering and see my hiking family that I know there, and to get inspired and get refreshed, and see some beautiful slides, hear some great music, think about new trails. That's important. That's refreshing. That's something I need.
As far as the gathering is concerned, it's something that happens every year, and I'm very grateful to the people who created it, perpetuate it. Obviously, Warren, thank you for your foresight. To know that we needed a place, we needed to get together, and we needed to recreate and talk about what our experiences out on the trails are, and to rejuvenate one another. And people like Bill O'Brien, who year after year put their time in, their dedication. They're very dedicated people. They're passionate people, and I guess that's the kind of people I want to be around, and that's what Aldha's about. Aldha is a magical experience. The gathering is a magical experience, and that's why I keep coming back year after year.
Gathering means a lot to me. It's not so much the workshops and the structure of the gathering itself. It's more the people, the camaraderie, the spirit of the trail that lives on in the people that have walked it, and getting together with the folks that do show up at the gathering. I've made some wonderful lifelong friends and friendships. That's what brings me back time and time again.
If it's been going 25 years, that's a big deal. 25 years, that's a quarter of 100. That's a lot.
Aldha is a great tool, and I really hope that it continues to grow. And what I really like the parts of the fact that it does continue to help dreamers. That's the most important thing that'll keep Aldha alive, is the fact that the new blood and the new people coming can get a chance to pull from the tremendous resources of all the hikers that are in the group that have logged thousands and thousands of miles. It's what we need to do, and that's something that Aldha has to stay focused on, is to continue to bring in future 2,000 milers and long distance hikers. That's the only way it's going to survive. That's what we need to do, and I think that is should be Aldha's #1 goal.
To Aldha, I would like to wish you a happy 25th anniversary. 25 more, please. And I'm sure that I don't speak for myself. I speak from the heart for many people. 50 more, 100 more. I hope Aldha continues long past all the rest of us.
Down home is all the two words that make me think about, that remind me of Aldha. When you talk about down home things, Aldha's down home. It's earthy, it's inclusive. And when you're in an organization that's inclusive, you feel loved, you feel supported. It's a law of Aldha that you love one another, you love the trail, you love to volunteer. What more does the world need than a group like that? That's my Aldha.
This has been Frank Krachevic, the Merry Slav, reporting from my grandmother's house with the beautiful lace curtains. Say bye to the loon.
Thank you.